Today we are discussing about bean scope. What is bean?
The life cycle of a class managed by Spring IOC container.
So we have mainly three things. Okay. So one interview question I'm covering here. So most of the interview questions ask basic interview questions. Okay. What is POSO? What is POSO class or bean class or Spring bean? What is the difference? So it is very simple. Try to understand. What is POSO? Any class, any Java class which is compiled by Java compiler. Okay, which is compiled by Java compiler. What is the specialty here? So while we are compiling Java class, definitely we'll take Java compiler. Okay, what is special here? But we should not add any external jar files to compile. Okay, we should not add any external jar file to compile. Okay, example, if you write any test class, okay, I'm writing simple class test. Okay, I'm writing simple class test. Here I have one variable int I equal 10. Okay, one method is there, public void, here one method is there. If I compile this class with simple Java compiler without adding any jar files in a class path or build path, it will compile or not? It will compile or not? So this test class will compile or not without taking any jar files apart from the Java installation. Whenever we install Java, it will come JRE. With that JRE only, it should compile the code, not JRE compiler, Java compiler. Okay, any class which is compiled by Java compiler without adding any external jar files to compiler in class path. Okay, in class path or build path, both are fine. This is called POSO class. Okay, example, this is class can compile by Java compiler without adding any jar files in a class path, external jar files. Whatever inbuilt will come jar files to the or Java installation, those are fine to compile this file. I'm taking another class ABC. Okay, class ABC extends servlet interface. Okay, this is one class. This class will compile directly with Java compiler, or do we need to add any external jar files? We already compiled servlets. Answer quickly. This class ABC extending servlet interface. Sorry, implementing. Okay, interface we have tried implements. Okay, this class will compile or not without adding any jar files to class path. So if we want to work with servlets, what jar file we have to add? If we want to work with servlet, what jar file I have to add?
Servlet-API.jar file.
So without adding that jar file, if I try to compile this class, what will happen? It will not compile. What did it say? You are saying servlet. This servlet, what is the servlet? This interface or class, what is it, where is that available? Those things we have to tell. Without telling this, the compiler will not compile. Right? So to compile this class, ABC class, we need to add a servlet-API.jar file. That is external jar file. We have to put in a class path or build path. Okay, so we can call this is not a POSO class. Okay, class ABC is not a POSO class because to compile this, To compile this class, we need to add servlet-api.jar file to class path or build path. Okay. For test class, it is a POSO. Test class is a POSO only because directly with Java compiler can compile this class without taking any jar files, external jar files into class path. Okay. What is next one? Next one is bean class. What is bean class? Any class which is, again same functionality, any class which is compiled by Java compiler okay, Java compiler and here condition important, and that class variables should have setters and getters. I'll make it as points. This is first point, second point, setters and getters. Okay, and third one, that class can implement serializable or externalizable. This point maybe you are not aware. Serializable, externalizable, I did not cover. Okay, I will cover after that Spring class. Okay, these are points, important points about beans. Any Java class which is compiled by Java compiler, and that class variable should have a setters and getters, and that class should implement, that class can implement any of, maybe implement serializable or externalizable. This point is correct. Okay, that means it can be implement serializable interface or externalizable interface. Okay, what is the serialization? What is the externalization? That I will cover later. This is not part of Spring. This is part of core Java. Okay, this is about bean class. What is the next one? Spring bean. What is Spring bean? Already I told multiple times. Okay, if any of Java class lifecycle managed by Spring IOC container, as we call Spring bean. Simple. Okay, now it is clear. Any doubts? Bean or POSO or Spring bean? Just read the points, all the points.
అన్నా వన్ డౌట్ అన్నా అన్న ఇప్పుడు సపోజ్ క్లాస్ ఏబిసి ఎక్స్టెన్స్ టెస్ట్ తీసుకుంటే ఏమైనా అన్న ఇప్పుడు ఇంప్లిమెంట్ సర్లెట్ తీసుకున్నారా అదే టెస్ట్ తీసుకుంటాను
Okay, you are asking to take a class ABC extend test, huh?
అవునన్నా
Okay, extend test class is fine. Now, what is the doubt? It is a bean or Spring bean or it is a POSO?
యాక్చువల్లీ టెస్ట్ క్లాస్ అనేది పోజే కదన్నా ఇప్పుడు ఏబిసి అనేది సర్లెట్ అదే
No, don't think about test class about. Tell me about class ABC. What is the POSO rule? A class which is compiled by Java compiler without taking any jar files to class path. This can be compiled by class path or not? Test class by test class. Okay, this is test class. Observe these two classes and tell me, to compile this class, do I need to add any jar files to class path or not? External jar files. Do I need to compile this class files without taking jar files or not? So this is a POSO class anyway. Okay, POSO class, a class extending POSO class. And see here, in this, any external jar files required to compile this class? అర్థం కావట్లేదా?
అన్న ఇప్పుడు టెస్ట్ క్లాస్ కి పోజో క్లాస్ అంటే జార్ ఫైల్స్ అవసరం లేదా అన్న?
టెస్ట్ క్లాస్ jar file ఎందుకు నేను ప్రాక్టికల్ చూపిస్తున్నా. వెయిట్. ఒక థియరిటికల్ గా ఎనీ క్లాస్ విచ్ ఈస్ కంపైల్డ్ బై జావా కంపైలర్ వితౌట్ టేకింగ్ ఎనీ jar files to our class path, that is a poso class. Okay, now I am writing one simple test class. See here, okay, that is compiling or not without taking jar files or not. Okay, I am taking new class here. Maybe I'll take new project. Okay, I'm taking new project. With Java project. Okay, I'm taking simple Java project. I'm taking project name is Java1. Okay, in that App1, just see what are there right now. These are Java JRE. Okay, I can change this also. Okay, instead of JRE, I'll put JDK also. How to change Java version here? Go to library, JRE system, JDK. Okay, so my project have JDK 1.8. Okay, Java 8 I have. If I write one simple class, what is the class name? Test. Okay, that has main method, that has one variable. It is compiled or not. This compiled or not? This compile or not? Any errors you are seeing here? Karthik?
అవుట్పుట్ ఇలాదేనా సిస్టమ్ డాట్ అవుట్ డాట్ ప్రింట్?
No, I'm asking only compile, not running. Only compile. Any errors here in the complete code?
No, it will compile.
It is compiled.
కంపేర్
It is compiled. That means this Java test class file is test class Java file is compiled without taking any jar files to our class path. Okay. Now see, I'm writing another Java class file. You told, okay, I'm taking ABC. Here I'm taking extends ABC. Sorry, extend test. Okay. This compile or not without taking any jar files. See here, I did not add any jar files here. Only JDK is there. It also compiled. That means ABC class also Pojo class only, and test class also Pojo class only. Now I'm writing one more class, test1, that is implements servlet. The spelling is correct. I'm writing import also. Import Java Xstart servlet dot star. It will take all class. See why it is giving compile error. Why it is giving compile error? See, it is asking compiler, what is servlet? Servlet is cannot be resolved type. I don't know what is servlet. That means to tell to Java compiler, this servlet is not part of JDK. This is part of separate jar file. That jar file I'll tell to you. Then you come to know what is servlet. Okay, I'm adding servlet in jar file and apply and close. See here. Okay. See here. Now it is import. Okay. It is now, this is a compiled code. Okay. If I remove jar file, what will happen? I'm again, to understand it more better, I'm removing the jar file. Servlet remove Removed or not removed? Okay. So servlet interface previously it compiled when I add external jar files. Now it is not compiled when I remove external jar file. That means it is POSO as per definition. It is not a POSO. Clear?
Clear Anna.
Okay. If you go for next one, it is a bin. What is a bin? Any class file which is compiled by Java compiler. Okay, this is I have some variables int I, int j, string a name. Okay, any class which is compiled Java compiler, and for that class any variables is there, that variable should have setters and getters. Okay, that have setters and getters, and that class can most, not should, can most implement serializable or clonable. Sorry, not clonable, externalizable. This can be implemented this or externalizable. That is one interface. The Eclipse is very slow. Okay, this can implement serializable or externalizable. This class we can call as a bean class. Okay, this class we can call it a bean class because this class can compile by Java compiler. It is compiled. I did not add any jar files, and whatever variables have now, all those variables have all setters and getters methods can implement serializable or externalizable. If I remove this one, still it is a bean because implementing serializable or externalizable is optional. Implementing serializable or externalizable is optional. Okay, if I remove this setters and getters, now it is not a bean class. Okay, the bean class should contain setters and getters for the variables. These are few rules. Okay, first time it will confuse and go through all the points. Okay, this is not much confusing points. Just read any class which should compile by Java compiler, and that class variable should have the setters and getters. That class can implement, can, not should. Okay, can implement serializable interface or external interface, any one. That is a class we can call it a bean class. Next one is Spring Bean. It is very simple. Any Java class lifecycle will be managed by Spring IOC container. So this class lifecycle will be managed by Spring IOC container. No, Spring IOC container don't know what is this class. But if you see that in the Spring, where is Spring code? If I put other component or service, repository, controller, now Spring no. Now Spring no, this class is Spring Bean because Spring IOC container will detect this class and lifecycle will be managed by Spring IOC container. Okay, that is about example for Bean, POSO, and Spring Bean. Okay, now I am going to that main discussion. Beans scope. Bean scopes in Spring. What is scope? What is the scope? Scope means where we can access. When it is generated, where we can access. Okay, when it is generated, where we can access. Example, this is a global variable we can access in entire class. If I write one variable here, if I try to access in this constructor, can I access this? Can I access this I variable? No, because this I is specific to this method only. The scope of this I is only this method. The scope of this V variable is, this employee variable is complete class. Complete class is anywhere. That is called scope. Okay, that is called scope. Like that, Spring Beans also have some scopes. Spring Beans also have the scope. What is the scope? By default is singleton. We have 5 types totally: singleton, prototype, request, session, global session. This last one is very rarely used. Okay, even no need to discuss also. Global session. This first 4 are important: singleton, prototype, request, session. What is singleton? What is singleton? Only one object will be created in entire project. Only one object will be created entire project. Okay. What is prototype? New instance or new object will be created every time when the bean is requested or when client asks the object. Client asks object. Okay. First we will discuss these two. I'm going to here existing code project Spring application app 3 I'm taking. App config, okay, client object, student 1, employee 1. Okay. So first one is singleton. What is singleton? This is singleton, and every bean by default is this scope only, singleton scope only. Okay. This is default scope for every Spring bean. What is default means? What is default means?
Nothing is there.
Default means whatever by default coming with the application. If we want to change, we can change. Okay. If we want to change, we can change. If you buy a mobile, some default apps will come. If you want, you can use. If you don't want, you can remove. Like that, by default, whenever we define Spring bean, that is a singleton scope. What is singleton means? Only one object will be created for that class in entire project. Example, go here and see. This is a last class project. This is client object. Okay, client class created. This is app config. Nothing here. I am telling completely scan the COM app 3. In the COM app 3, anything you found Spring beans, those lifecycle will be managed by Spring IOC container. Okay. In COM app 3, what are Spring beans available? Client 1, it is not a Spring bean. Employee, it is a Spring bean because it is a component. Student, it is a component. Vehicle, it is a component. All are Spring beans only. If you remove this, directly you can say that it is not a Spring bean because Spring IOC container component scan will not detect this class as a Spring bean. Okay. If you write component or service or repository or controller, if you write anyone, this is Spring bean. Now this is client code. In the client code, I'm asking, so give me student class. Give me student class. Okay. It is given a student object. Again, I'll ask, give me student class. Again, I'm asking, give me student class. What will happen? I'll change reference variables S1, S2. Now tell me, Spring will create only one object for student, or Spring will create only one object for, Spring will create only one object or two objects. If I ask line number 12, it will create one object. If I ask line number 13, again it create another object. Is it correct? No, because by default, Spring bean is a singleton. That means only one object will be created.
Auto annotation తీసుకుంటే కదా auto error annotation.
Auto-weight గురించి మాట్లాడలే. Auto-weight, okay, I will tell. Okay, auto-weight not matter here. I'm telling about scopes.
అంటే 2 ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ తీసుకున్నాం కదా నెంబర్
అర్థం కాల వాయిస్ నాయిస్ వస్తుంది.
2 ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ తీసుకుంటున్నాం కదా, ఓన్లీ 1 ఆబ్జెక్ట్ అయితే అవసరం లేదా? నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ తీసుకున్నప్పుడు ఆటో వైడెడ్ వాడితే ఇస్తుంది.
You can take auto wide, but not here. This is not a POJO class, right? This is not a Spring Bean class. So you cannot apply POJO, you cannot apply auto wide. So if you go employee, what I did here, for vehicle class I applied auto wide. I will take another vehicle class. Okay, I can apply auto wide here again. Okay, this is possible, but try to understand singleton. Okay?
ఒక నిమిషం చెంచు, ఒక నిమిషం చెంచు.
చెప్పు.
5 క్లాసెస్ ఉన్నాయి కానీ 5 క్లాసెస్ కి ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ అవుతుందా?
Yes, only one object will create. I'll show that. Okay, I'll show with proof. So what I'm saying here, in the line number 12, if I ask Spring container, please give me student class object, it will create and return. If I ask again to get a student class object, it will create new object or it will return from the existing object. That is the point here. If I create new object, it's not a singleton. What is singleton means? It will create only one object for entire class, entire project. Okay, now see that how to check S1 and S2 both are same. This is a one object, this is a one another object. How to check? Okay, leave this, you are not understanding. I'm creating here two string objects, or else I'll manually create student objects. Student S11 equal to new student. Okay, again I'm creating student S22 equal to new student. Wait, there any construct on the level? Okay, construct. Okay. Okay, fine. If I create like this, what will happen? It will create two objects or one object. It will create two objects definitely, because we are using new operator. If you using new operator means it always will get new object. This is new object, this is new object. These are two different objects. How we can know? How I can show? What is the proof for this? It is a two objects or one object. What is the proof? How we can find this is a different object, this is a different object? I told whenever object is created, there is one hash code for that is unique code for every object. That is from the object class. Okay, hash code it will generate automatically whenever you create object. Who will generate? JVM. Okay, that means this object has some hash code, this object has some hash code. These are two different objects, so this means two different objects have two different hash code. How we can compare hash codes? First, how to get hash codes? S11 dot hash code I'm taking, so it will return a corresponding first object hash code. Okay, print this. Again, I'm creating new object. Sorry, I'm printing the second object S12. Now print, check these two are different or same. These are two are same. These two objects. These are two different numbers. That means two different objects. So like that, in this way we can check two different objects are same or not. Okay, these are same or not, we can check by using hash code method. Same like here S1 and S2. In this case of line number 20 and 22, I created object. But in the case of line number 12 and 13, container creating object and giving to me. Okay, container creating object is giving to me. Now if I call S1 dot hash code and S2 dot hash code and print those two, check container created same objects or container created only one object or multiple objects. First check first two numbers are from the container. See here, first two are same or not. That means S1 and S2 point into only one object. Okay. For student class, container created only one object. If you ask multiple times, context are get bin like that.
ఒకసారి ఎంప్లాయీతో చెక్ చేయవా?
Employee also same. Okay, I'm creating employee object here. I'm creating employee object here. I'm getting the last. Okay. Context or get bin. Okay, two objects I got. First one is E1. Second one is E2. Now tell me, according to your way, E1, E2 only one object or two different objects? Just think, this is by default is singleton. Singleton means singleton scope means only one object will create for one Spring Bean. Now tell me, E1 and E2 is same or not?
సేమ్.
It is same because by default is singleton. That means for one class only one object will create for entire project. Check last two numbers. These are same. Okay, that means by default for every Spring Bean scope is singleton. Singleton means only one object will be created for that class entire project. The entire project, if you create multiple times for the object for that class, I mean creating means multiple times. If you ask by container, it will return existing object only. So in this case, what will happen in terms of employee? Okay, first time you are asking to employee object. So container give me employee object. So what first time, right? It will create and return to you. Next time again asking to you. Okay, next time asking container dot get bin employee object. So what will happen? First it will check this employee scope. It is a singleton or different one. If it is a singleton means I have written an existing object. If it is a different one, it depends on that I have to do. Okay, it is singleton by default. So return existing object only. Even if you ask multiple times, ctx dot again asking get bin of employee dot class. What will happen? It return existing object only. What is the proof? Print the hash code for every object. E1 dot hash code, E2 dot hash code, E3 hash code, whatever, all hash code is same. It is a singleton. That means only one object will be created for that class. Now what I am saying, what is another scope we have? What is another scope we have? Prototype. What is prototype? A new object will be created every time when the client asks. When the client asks to container. When the container, okay. A new object will be created every time. Okay. When the client asks the container. When the client asks the container. What is the meaning? So here I am asking the container, give me employee class object. It will create one object. Again I am asking container dot give me employee class object. According to prototype scope, what is the meaning? A new object will be created every time we are asking to container. Okay. Whenever you ask container object, give me that employee object. Okay, it will create new object. A new object will be created. I'm repeating to understand it more better. A new object will be created every time when the client asks to container. So he is a client class asking container, give me employee class object. Okay, create and return back. Again, I'm asking create and return back. Again, if I ask again, create and return back. If I ask again, create and return back. Okay, how to make by default is a singleton. So even that is, we don't need to mention that it is singleton. So now I'm asking prototype. How to make a bean as a prototype? Simple. There is one annotation. There is one annotation. Scope prototype. We are telling to container for this class object, the scope is prototype. That means whenever client asks, client means any person. Okay, maybe client, a client means you or someone else, maybe postman, browser. You have to hit the method context.getBean. Okay, whenever if we call context.getBean employee class object, it will create always new object. Create always new object. Now check here, employee class is a prototype. Here student class is a not mention anything. It is a singleton. Means singleton means what singleton means?
నాకు ఒకసారి డిక్లరేషన్ షార్ట్ కట్ చెప్పనా?
ఎక్కడ?
అంటే స్టూడెంట్ క్లాస్ ఓపెన్ చేస్తాను అక్కడికి వెళ్తుంది అలా డిక్లరేషన్ ఉంటుంది.
కంట్రోల్ క్లిక్ అంతే లేదు. Control click. Okay, student class is a singleton because we did not mention. If you want to mention, you can mention. Anyway, by default is singleton. Even if you mention or not mention, it is a singleton only. If you want to change, mention with the scope annotation. Even if you don't write this, it is singleton only. If you want to mention specifically different type, prototype. That means whenever client asks object, every time create a new object. Now I'm not making it a prototype, it is a singleton only. Okay, go to client code. If these two objects are same, because it is singleton, only one object will be created, even if you call multiple times. But in the terms of employee class, it is a prototype. C scope is a prototype. That means whenever you ask context.getBean, it always create new object and give to you. Again call, create new object, give to you. Now check last two lines is same or different. Previously it is same. If you want, you can check it is same. Now I'm making that employee class as a prototype. If I call multiple times, multiple objects will be created. Wait, what is the error? Bean factories unsatisfied dependency student. Why? Compound ఉంది కదా. చలా సర్క్యులర్ రిఫరెన్స్ అంట. సర్క్యులర్ రిఫరెన్స్ ఆల్రెడీ చెప్పాను. సో మళ్ళీ ఎక్కడ నుంచి చూద్దాం. ఎంప్లాయీ క్లాస్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ లో స్టూడెంట్లో ఎంప్లాయీ కావాలి, అది ఎంప్లాయీలో వెహికల్ కావాలి. ఓకేనా, ఈ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ పంచాయతీ వద్దు. రైట్, స్టూడెంట్ ఇన్ vehicle. Okay, remove this one. Okay, always don't prefer constructor injection, better go for the constructor injection. Okay, I will tell when to go for setter, when to go for constructor. Now try to run this application. Save. So we're creating bean vehicle. Okay, circular reference కదా. First I'll change complete code. Go to student, there is no constructor. Go to vehicle, remove the constructor first. Okay, next employee, constructor. Okay. We check what is the issue, component scope prototype. Vehicle set vehicle, okay. Employee lo vehicle and student lo client, okay, client class strong. Difference chance I will delete some classes which employee student, right? Employee class. Okay, right sector. Scope. Okay, scope that would cover no. The class vehicle come in this. Okay, so it's a commenter somewhere it is happening circular reference. Okay, for this topic, I commented that remaining code. Go to employee, this scope is prototype. Go to student, scope is by default singleton. Now see the output. See the output. Last two is same or not? It is not same. That means first time if you ask object, it will return a new object. Again, if you are creating, again if you are asking object container, default the scope is prototype. That means it is written a new object. What is the prototype means? Any bean scope is prototype. The corresponding object for the class will be created every time whenever the client asks. You see the client, we are asking context.container. Give me employee object. Container. Give me employee object. If I ask again multiple times, every time it will create a new object. That is a scope. Okay, that is called prototype scope. What is this request? Request scope, session scope will be covered in a Spring MEC module. Okay, here we cannot cover because we have to give request from the UI for every request. Okay, example, go to browser. Okay, click on any link. Okay, click on any link. For every request, it will create a new object. Okay, example, if I click on this request, That request internally may call one method. That method we are creating object from the container. That means for every request, it will create a new object. Okay. What is session? Session management, I did not tell. What is session means? Once we log in application. Okay, login means we have to enter username, password. After enter username, password, there will be one session will be created in server side. First one session, one object will be created. Okay. If another people log in with their credentials, the new session will be created. For him, another object will be created. That means what is session scope means? Session scope means a new object will be created for HTTP session. Request means the same as prototype, but difference is it is used in the MVC based application. Whenever object will be created, whenever we give a each HTTP request. For every request from browser, new object will be created. Session means for every user login, it will create a new object. That is the only difference. This global session we will not use in the Spring directly. It will be used in a portlet. Okay, there are different type of applications you can develop in the Spring. One is a portlet type that did not cover. Okay, I'm not much sure on this. So it is very rare case to use in the portlet environment, global session. Okay, just try to read all the 4 points. First 4: singleton, prototype, request, session. Singleton is very simple. It is default scope. Okay, just read all points. Okay, singleton means only one object will be created for one class in entire project. Okay, in entire project. Prototype means a new object will be created always whenever client asks the container. Request means the same as prototype, but in terms of HTTP request. When you ask HTTP request from browser, for every request, new object will be created. Session means particular users. Even this browser, right? If I give multiple requests from this browser, okay, here only one session is created because I am only one user. Another system, another user sending request to same application, for him, new object will be created. That is like session concept. These are all 4 clear or not?
Yes, bro.
There is one more important annotation, maybe 2 annotations. Okay. @ pre-construct post destroy. What is pre-construct post destroy? What is pre and post? What is pre-construct and post destroy? It is not coming. Post construct. Post construct on pre-destroy. Okay. Pre-destroy. Pre-destroy. Post construct and pre-destroy. What is pre and post? Generally, any meaning for that? So if we want to execute any logic, okay, if we want to execute any logic once object is created, what we do? So example, in terms of core Java, I'm asking question. Okay, already I told, I remember. So I want to execute some piece of code immediately after execution of after creating object.
కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేసి అయిపోతుంది.
Okay, we can use the constructor or we can use the instance block also. So one more, if you want to execute some logic whenever object going to destroy, just before destroy. I told already, whenever I want to execute some piece of code just before object going to destroy. I told one method. In object class, what are different methods? Object class methods, bro. గుర్తులేదా? What are object class methods? How many methods are there in object class? I told each one. Very, very, very most important question in terms of core Java interview questions.
ToString method, hash code method, equals method.
Right? Right? ఇంకా ఉన్నాయి చాలా. We are in Spring class, but we are not able to answer core Java questions, basic questions. Object class methods. Lokesh కి అన్మ్యూట్ బటన్ పనిచేయదు ఇప్పుడు. రిఫర్ చేయని మెటీరియల్ నోట్బుక్ ఉంటే మీ దగ్గర ఏమైనా ఫాస్ట్గా. I'll give 2 minutes. Object class methods.
ToString method, equals method, hash code method, clone method, notify method, notifier method.
Get class.
అన్నీ వచ్చినాయి మోస్ట్లీ, నాకు కావాల్సిన తప్ప. ToString, hash code, clone, get class, notify all. ఓకే, ఒక మెథడ్ ఉంది ఫైనలైజ్ అని, ఒకసారి డివిజన్ ఫాస్ట్గా ఏం చెప్పాను. పర్లేదు. finalize method for revision fast గా మీకు మెటీరియల్ ఉంటే ఓకే గార్బేజ్ కరెక్టరే కానీ ముందే చెప్పా ఫైనలైజ్ మెథడ్ See, what is this finalize method? Just before destroying object, garbage collector calls, this means garbage collector. Garbage collector calls finalize method of that object. Okay, just before destroy. గుర్తుందా ఏమన్నా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయాలి ఇంకా to perform cleanup activities. సో ఒకసారి రివిజన్ చేస్తున్నా గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి ఒకసారి మెసేజ్ వచ్చింది లోన్ ఓకే సో వాట్ ఐఎమ్ సెయింగ్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ we have some heap memory. We have some heap memory. In the code, what we are doing, we are creating object, we are creating many objects we have created. Okay, student object S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6. We are keep creating, but we are not destroying. Okay, we keep creating, we are not destroying. So at a certain point of time, there is a JVM will identify and check heap memory. Is there is space to create new objects or not? It is almost full. At we are last stage. That means JVM feels there is a chance of out of memory. Memory is full. Out of memory to create new object. Okay. JVM feels okay. If I create some more object, definitely will get memory issue. That time it will call garbage collector. Garbage collector is one component background thread. I told already in multi-threading. It will run in background. Garbage collector will call by JVM. Okay, here JVM will feel there is a chance of out of memory issue because our memory going to full. Immediately JVM will call garbage collector. Garbage collector and come and check any objects just we created but not using. Just we created but not using. What does it mean of not using? Not using means that don't have reference. Those objects will be destroyed. Those objects will be destroyed. Just before destroy object, for this object have finalize method, that finalize method will be called. What is the reason? If the reason is to want to do something before we are going to die. You can die. Okay, you can die, but you can do something in that method. Okay. Anyway, I am going to destroy this object. Okay. Just before destroy, if you want to do something, you can do in this method. Okay. Garbage collector call finalize method that object on that object. Okay. This is for cleaning purpose. What is cleaning? If you declare multiple variables, if you want to remove that variables or clean up that variables, or you create a database connection, you create a file connection. If you create a multiple another connection, Kafka connection, maybe different maybe database connection. Okay. If you want to close all those, you can close in this method. Okay, just simple point. Finalize method will be executed just before destroying that object by garbage collector. Okay. Okay, fine. So Someone told already this is finally method will be executed just before destroy. Someone told if you want to execute some code immediately after creation object. That is, we can place constructor or instance block. Both are possible. Constructor takes arguments, instance block don't take arguments. Constructor means, what is the rule for constructor? Class name is same, but instance block nothing, only open bracket and close bracket. Inside a class, example, I'm taking class test here. Inside a class, what is the rule of constructor? Class name should be same. But what is the rule of instance block? Nothing, no rule. Outside a method, inside a class, just open bracket and close bracket is a one instance block. This is a constructor. What is the difference? It will take some arguments. It will not take any arguments. This will execute after creation object. This will execute after creation object. Okay. Fine. Now come to our topic: post construct or pre destroy. What are those? Post construct is the annotation. Okay. This we can apply on top of method. On top of method. Okay. If we want to execute immediately after creation of object, and inject, this is important, inject variables, inject values to variables. Inject values to variables to our bean class by who will inject? Who will inject? This Spring Bean. Who will inject the values to our variables in Spring Bean?
Spring IOC container.
Spring IOC container. So if you want to execute some code immediately, immediately after creation of object and inject the values to variables to our Spring Bean by Spring IOC container. Okay. Example. Let's take example. I'm taking one class test or employee. To make this class as Spring Bean, what you have to do? Apply component. For now, I'm telling component. When you go for Spring MEC, I'll tell service repository also, controller. Okay. Now it is Spring Bean. This Spring Bean has some variables, int EID, int maybe name and take string name. These are two variables. Two variables I want to take from properties file. I want to take from properties file. Example, EID value is 101. Ename value is okay. This I want to inject to our employee bin, employee Spring Bean. How to inject? What is the thing I have to use here? Annotation.
At the rate of value.
At the rate of value, I have to take. Okay. Is EID. Again, this is ename. Okay. Spring IOC container will inject values to our bean. Okay. Now up to here, Spring IOC container work is completed. If you want to execute, some piece of code after creation of object and immediately after injecting the values to variables, we want to execute some code. Okay, that we can write in one method, public void initialize, something I'm writing initialize. You can write ABC also. For this method, if I put at the rate post, what is this? Other post constructor. What will happen? In this case, first Spring IOS container create the object and inject the variables data. Immediately it will call post construct. Okay, this method, because we applied that method as a post construct. Post construct, what is the meaning of post? Post means what? After. Construct. Construct means create the object. After creation of object, please execute this method by IOS container. Please call this method by IOS container. What logic you write inside this up to your requirement. Logic is yours. Okay, this is post construct. Same as we have one more annotation, pre-destroy. What is pre? Pre means before, munde. Destroy means before, just before destroy. We want to execute some logic. Okay, just before going to destroy Spring bin, if you want to execute some code. Okay, we can declare that near pre-destroy. Okay, I'm writing one method here. Any method name you can take. So now tell me flow, what will happen first? It will create employee object, employee equal to new employee internally by Spring IOS container, but not developer. After creating, inject this value, EID value, EDM value. After that, pre-construct, it will call a pre-construct method. Up to here, Spring IOS container. And when this will execute, not immediately. After creation object, immediately not this call this method. Whenever just before destroying object. Okay, there are multiple possible places. Whenever object destroy in Spring bin, just before destroy object, if you want to call some logic, execute some logic, we can make that a pre-destroy. Okay, these are straightforward, not much. Okay, just see here. I'm writing one simple class student. Okay, and writing student only. In the student, I want to take some variables, int id, okay, student SID, student S name, pre-construct from post side. Later, I'm writing an SOP here. Initialize method. I'm writing here destroy method. Pre-destroy. Post construct transition. Post construct term is not available. What is the reason? Should be available. I'm not sure. I will check definitely. What is the reason for this post constructor? Post construct is not available. Why? Is there, but why it not coming? Java extended, no? Okay. Post constructor. I'm checking what is the reason for this. Reference jar files are Spring OP. Nothing missing here. For the context. Java X annotation required. Okay. So for this separate jar file required, I'm not sure why it is asking. Just download this and see it will work or not. Download jar file. Share this. And now it is coming. Read, just try. Okay, some jar file missing. Okay, these are some issues with the normally if you develop which application without Maven support. If you use Maven, automatically simple tag will download all these jar files. Okay, okay, fine. So I'm writing post construct and pre-destroy simple methods. So when it will be called, please check here. I'm calling the student. Okay, this code not required. First not required. Just I'm calling the context.getBean, give me student class. In the student class, I have post concept. Immediately after injecting the values, it will call a post concept. Let's see that it will work or not. For input, okay, dot src, I create a properties file. Where is properties file? It's not created. How to load properties file? First, I'll create one properties file here. File app dot properties. I'm putting EID equal to not 1, ename equal to. How to load this properties file? Wherever configuration annotation is there, go there. What is annotation?
Photos.
Properties. Okay, run this application again. It is saying something not found. SID. SID, what I given here? EID. Yeah? Okay, make the SID. Okay, it is initialized. Okay, it is got initialized. When it is inside, whenever you create object, so it is created object or not, that is secondary. So this value is injected or not. How to identify this value is injected or not? We can call this values here I equal to, so not I, yes, EID equal to EID okay. This is just to cross check the values injected or not. It is injected. On what else we can do to check this called or not these variables? We can write constructor injection here instead of setter injection. This is construct injection. Okay, here I'm taking that value. Okay, it's fine. Not require much. Okay, not require much. Anyway, we are calling the initialize method. So first, whenever we call context or get bin, what will happen? First, it will create a student class object. After creating student class object, what is next task to container? It will inject the variable data. After that, it will check that class contain any post construct. Okay, post construct immediately after creation object. That will call that method. Okay, when it will call destroy method? Destroy method, I'm not sure. I will check. 1 second. There is an annotation. Sorry, I'm in mute. Okay, I'm repeating again. So I show you already about student class. Okay, student class, whenever we call this method context or get bin, it will create object. It will create object and it will initialize the variables by injecting the variables from the properties file. Immediately, it will check student class contain any post construct annotation. Okay, that method will be executed. Okay, up to here is initialize. Up to here it is a initializer phase. After initialization, what is next task? If you want to use that object, we can use by calling multiple methods. Okay, print employee, print student, or different method, anything. After that, I'm closing that context. Context closing means whatever the object there in the context, this also will close, destroy. Just before destroy, if we want to execute some method, those we can put in a pre-destroy. Pre-destroy. This method will be executed just before destroying this object by IOC container, but not garbage collector. In terms of what is the difference in terms of finalize method in the object class, it will be called by garbage collector. This will be called by container, IOC container. Okay, this is container specific. This is garbage collector, object specific. Is clear? Pre-construct, post-destroy. Sorry, post-construct, pre-destroy. Don't confuse. Okay. Any doubts up to here? I think almost we completed Spring Core 70%. I will cover remaining pending topics tomorrow. Okay, bean scopes completed. Post construct, pre-destroy, okay, it's done, right? So we have one pending thing is bean life cycle. Okay, bean life cycle, I'll tell. Bean life cycle nothing but all the combination of all these topics. Combination of all these topics. Okay, and one more thing is interface injection. Interface injection I'll cover first tomorrow, then I'll go for bean life cycle. Okay, mostly we end Spring Core.
Bro, that one pre-destroy and post-construct. Pre-destroy, post-construct.
Do you want explanation or do you want code?
Bro, కాదు bro, దాంట్లో ఇందాక టాపిక్స్ చెప్పారు కదా రివర్స్ ఆర్డర్ రాసి పెట్టండి.
Okay, mistake ఉందా? Okay, post construct, pre-destroy. Post construct after immediately creation objects, pre-destroy after just before destroy object. Okay, just remember that way. Interface injection and difference, what is this one? Spring bean life cycle. These are pending topics for tomorrow.